Neon sirens flash across the skyline as Dr. Elena Ward stumbles through a collapsing skybridge, clutching the alien man she loved. Below them, riot drones swarm, broadcasting a single warning to all of Neosol. Human-alien bonding detected. Marriage classified as biological threat. Kale's luminous skin flickers violently. He's dying, the veil bond collapsing inside him, while a chilling voice echoes from the public speakers. Surrender the alien, and humanity will be safe. Elena screams into the storm, I'm not giving him up. Not now, not ever. And as the bridge cracks under their feet, a shadow descends, Commander Rukar, the alien warlord who came to tear them apart. Your love ends tonight, human. Elena stands, trembling but unbroken. Because if she gives up now, their marriage won't just fail. The galaxy will burn. Neon light shimmered across the polished edge of the tribunal tower as Dr. Elena Ward stepped off the hovertram, a tremor of unease moving through her chest. The morning air carried the familiar scent of ionized mist and drifting engine exhaust, yet everything felt strangely hollow, as if the entire city of Neosol held its breath. She adjusted the collar of her formal coat and stared at the holoscreens hovering above the plaza. Human-alien marriage under crisis review. Biohazard Council declares new threat level. Her own future displayed as public alarm. People paused to read. Some whispered. Others moved on with forced indifference, pretending they weren't disturbed by the idea of a human woman requesting legal union with a defector from one of the most feared alien empires in the Orion Compact. Elena exhaled slowly. This won't break me, she murmured to herself. Behind her, footsteps approached. She didn't need to turn to know it was Kale Thryn. His presence had a distinct quality, an almost quiet gravity that settled around him like a constant awareness. When he reached her side, the faint glow beneath his skin pulsed gently. Veil bioluminescence responded to emotion, and right now his was dim, controlled, cautious. Elena, he said softly, your heart rate is elevated. You don't need your alien senses to figure that out, she replied, forcing a thin smile. This hearing decides everything. Kale gazed at the tower. His posture remained composed, but Elena sensed the tension beneath the surface. His defection from the Veiled Dominion made him a political flashpoint. His relationship with a human made him a target. His decision to marry her made him a symbol no government wanted to mishandle. We walk in together, he said. Whatever they choose, they hear the truth. Elena nodded. Then let's face it. They entered the towering structure, passing through layered security barricades staffed by officers scanning for weapons, pathogens, and anomalous alien signatures. Kale submitted to every scan without protest, knowing each measure existed because of his species' reputation, a legacy of Cold Wars, border skirmishes, and the rigid doctrine that shaped the Dominion. Inside the tribunal chamber, the atmosphere carried a thick sense of scrutiny. Delegates occupied raised seating platforms, their expressions sharp and weary. Screens displayed Elena's research, Kale's defection records, and a growing list of objections submitted by politicians fearing diplomatic consequences. Elena stood behind her podium while Kale took his place beside her. A tribunal elder addressed them. Dr. Ward. Kale Thryn. Your request for interspecies union has raised concerns regarding biological compatibility, emotional stability, and geopolitical stability. Before deliberations begin, we require complete disclosure from both parties. Elena opened her mouth to respond, but Kale touched her wrist gently. Allow me. His voice carried steady resonance. I am aware my presence challenges established boundaries. I defected from the Dominion because I sought peace. During my service, I observed humanity's resilience, creativity, and capacity for compassion. These qualities led me to Elena. He paused, letting the words settle. My intention to bond with her is not political. It is personal. Murmurs echoed across the chamber. Elena stepped forward. I have conducted extensive xenobiological analysis confirming biological compatibility and low cross-species risk. The bonding process. Kale interrupted with a sudden shift in his luminescence. Elena. She looked at him, startled. His glow flickered with tension, not defiance. There is something I must disclose, he said quietly, though the room amplified every syllable. Veil bonding is irreversible. It merges neural signatures. If one partner dies, the other deteriorates. I should have explained this sooner. The chamber erupted. Delegates shouted questions. Analysts typed furiously. Security officers exchanged glances of alarm. Elena stared at Kale, her pulse spiking. You never told me that. It is a sacred aspect of Veil culture, he said. Spoken only during initiation rites. I feared you would reconsider before understanding what it truly means. Elena steadied herself. Kale, this is my choice. Not theirs. A council member slammed a hand against their desk. This union could destabilize our alliance with the Veil Dominion. A bond of this nature creates biological interdependence. Human safety becomes tied directly to an alien defector. Another delegate added, if Dominion forces demand his return, we jeopardize the treaty. Are you prepared to risk conflict for this marriage? Elena met their collective stare without flinching. I ask for fairness, not fear-driven judgment. Our union threatens nothing. If anything, it proves coexistence is possible. Kale watched her with a mixture of pride and worry. His glow softened. The elder raised a hand. We will recess before issuing preliminary judgment. As the chamber dimmed, Elena and Kale stepped into a side corridor. The moment they were alone, she exhaled sharply. You should have told me earlier, she said. You are right, Kale answered. I withheld it because I feared losing you. Elena studied him. His honesty, though delayed, felt raw. I'm not leaving, but you can't hide anything else. Ever. Agreed. They moved toward the exit, but before they reached the outer lobby, Kale suddenly staggered. His hand shot to the wall, luminescence flaring violently. Elena rushed to him. Kale. What's happening? His body shuddered as if struck by invisible force. A beacon. His voice strained. Veil signal. High command frequency. Elena's breath caught. Someone is targeting you? A commander, Kale whispered. Only one I know would dare. Before she could respond, he collapsed to one knee, trembling. Elena gripped his shoulders. Stay with me. We're getting out of here. As she helped him stand, a shadow flickered in the reflection of a glass panel behind them, a tall silhouette with predatory posture. When she turned, it vanished. But the implication chilled her. Someone powerful had arrived on Earth. The tribunal's decision was no longer their greatest threat. Their love had awakened something far more dangerous. Elena steadied Kale as they exited the tribunal tower, the neon haze of Neo-Sol blurring around them. His breathing remained uneven, each inhale catching like an electrical fault within his chest. The Veil beacon had hit him with precise intent, carrying a signature he recognized instantly, not random military tech, but the personal command frequency of a superior he once feared more than death. They reached the plaza's edge and slipped into a quiet walkway between two magrail pillars. Kale pressed his palm to the wall, light rippling faintly beneath his skin. Elena, he said, voice low, Rukar is here. The name carried weight she instantly understood. Kale had spoken of him only once, years ago, in a tone that left no room for misinterpretation. Commander Rukar wasn't just a high-ranking Veil strategist. He was the architect of the Dominion's most brutal campaigns. Ruthless, uncompromising, loyal to a doctrine that viewed emotional deviation as contamination. He tracked you across systems? She asked. He wouldn't tolerate a defector forming a union with a human. Kale gripped her wrist. We must leave. Now. They headed toward Elena's residential block, a towering complex draped with vertical gardens and shielded by layered security field. The walk felt longer than usual, the corridor lights flickering as if sensing their tension. Inside her apartment, Kale collapsed onto the couch. Elena knelt beside him, scanning his vitals using a compact diagnostic tool. Alien physiology required specialized sensors, but she'd grown adept at interpreting the readings. The beacon caused a neural compression wave, she said. Your system is recalibrating, but the pain threshold. It will pass. His voice strained, but steady. Rukar uses these beacons to assert dominance. He wants me weakened. It means he's preparing to move. Elena placed the scanner aside. Then we prepare first. Kale studied her with a mixture of admiration and worry. I brought this danger to you. You brought change, she corrected. But change always has enemies. Before Kale could respond, the apartment lights blinked sharply. Elena's instincts sharpened. She rose, moving silently toward the window. At first, the night outside looked ordinary. Neon signage, drifting traffic, and the soft glow of distant skybridges. But something felt off. A faint hum vibrated through the glass. Kale, she whispered. Energy signature outside. He tried to stand but winced. Elena rushed to support him. Before they could react, a violent explosion tore through the building's lower level. The shockwave thundered upward, shattering glass along the tower's face. The floor beneath them shook, sending Elena backward. Kale immediately shielded her, wrapping his body around hers as a rain of fractured panels fell around them. Smoke seeped into the hallway. Alarms blared. A digital message flashed across nearby hollow panels. Stop the alien union, humanity first. Elena's breath caught. Human extremists. They weren't waiting for legal decisions. They wanted elimination. Kale helped her up, ignoring the dark crystalline shards forming along his ribs, a veiled physiological reaction to trauma. Elena recognized the danger. Too much crystallization could trigger systemic failure. You're hurt, she said. I'm functional. His tone was firm, though sweat beaded at his temples. We must move to a secure zone. They exited into a hallway engulfed in smoke. Emergency shutters slammed down between levels to contain the fire spreading below. Elena guided Kale toward a maintenance stairwell as emergency drones hovered past them, projecting evacuation paths. Down 2 flights, they reached a sealed door barring access to the exterior walkway. Elena pressed her palm against the panel. The system scanned her biometrics, but error codes flashed. The explosion corrupted the access link, she muttered. Kale stepped forward, placing both hands on the panel. His energy pulsed, interacting with the circuitry in a way no human could replicate. Within seconds, the door slid open. They emerged into the open air. Fire crews battled the blaze below, while police drones swept the area for suspects. Elena leaned against the railing, catching her breath. Human extremists attacking you. Veil commanders tracking you. The tribunal doubting everything, she shook her head. This isn't just a political storm. It's a hunt. Kale turned her toward him. We still have each other. That only matters if we survive, she replied quietly. His luminescence dimmed. Then survival becomes our focus. A siren blared above as a patrol vehicle approached. 2 officers stepped out, weapons drawn. You two, identify yourselves, one shouted. Elena raised her hands. Dr. Elena Ward. He's with me. When they scanned Kale's ID, their expressions hardened. A veiled defector? You're a primary suspect. The beacon spike detected earlier. We were attacked, Elena cut in. Extremists planted an explosive device. The officers exchanged wary looks. A report has already been filed. But these events intersect with interstellar security. Stay available for questioning. As they left, Kale murmured, suspicion here grows quickly. People fear what they don't understand, Elena said. But fear doesn't justify violence. Kale glanced toward the burning level below. This was coordinated. Extremists acted the same day Rukar arrived. That cannot be coincidence. Elena paused. You think someone facilitated this? Human groups working with Dominion agents. Perhaps unknowingly. Or deliberately. His jaw tightened. Rukar has manipulated entire planets before. Stirring human factions is minor for him. She rubbed her temples. Then we need answers before he forces his next move. Kale steadied himself. I traced fragments of the beacon's frequency before collapsing. With your xenobiology tools, we can analyze it further. Elena's mind shifted into scientific focus. If we identify its origin point, we can confirm his location. And understand what he plans, Kale added. They returned inside through a safer stairwell, moving past med teams assisting injured residents. Elena retrieved her portable scanner from the apartment's semi-functional lab counter. Kale projected the last imprint of the beacon's waveform from his internal memory, faint, fractured, but usable. Elena ran the waveform through harmonic filters. Patterns emerged, then sharpened into a directional signature. This frequency originated from the abandoned industrial sector, she said. The old transit hub outside Sector 9. Kale's expression darkened. A perfect place for concealment. Elena packed her tools. We have to confirm it. Kale caught her hand. If Rukar is there, he'll anticipate your arrival. Good, she said. Because I'm done letting him dictate our fate. Kale's luminescence brightened, not fear, but admiration. You are remarkable, he said. I'm just tired of running. She looked toward the night sky. If he wants a confrontation, we'll give him something he doesn't expect. As they prepared to leave, the apartment systems flickered one last time. A faint shadow moved across the cracked window, tall, silent, watching. Rukar was closer than they knew. And he was done waiting. Rain drifted across the abandoned industrial sector as Elena and Kale approached the derelict transit hub. Decades-old structures loomed overhead, their metal frames sagging from corrosion and architectural neglect. Flickering signs cast distorted shadows that moved like restless figures. The air carried the stench of damp machinery, dust, and residual energy discharge. Elena adjusted her scanner settings. The beacon signature is strongest inside that platform hall, she said, pointing toward a broken set of sliding doors. Kale studied the area carefully. His luminescence remained faint, controlled, concealed to avoid detection. Rukar built his career on ambush tactics. Expect layered traps. They moved forward with deliberate steps. Elena's heartbeat thudded against her ribs, but she refused to slow down. Too much had already been taken from them. If fear controlled their actions, Rukar would win before they even reached him. Inside the hall, debris littered the floor. Rusted rails extended into darkness. Hologram terminals scattered along the walls emitted faint static cycles. Elena scanned the atmosphere. Unfamiliar energy traces responded to her device. This field isn't from human tech, she whispered. Veil resonance nets are active. Kale crouched beside a fractured support beam. Resonance nets disrupt movement by manipulating kinetic flow. If we trigger one, we lose mobility. Then we avoid them, Elena said, adjusting her scanner to reveal a shimmering grid across the floor. Stay behind me. They navigated the hall in silence, weaving between invisible barriers. At the far end, a pulsating glow radiated from a lower chamber. Elena's skin prickled at the sight. That's Veil power intensity, Kale murmured. He's close. They descended the steps and entered a cavernous underground space. Dozens of Veil soldiers stood in formation, their armor gleaming in muted blue light. At the center of the assembly rose a containment platform, transparent, spherical, and humming with energy. Elena froze. Inside the sphere floated the incomplete remnants of an activated Veil bonding lattice, an imitation of the sacred ritual Kale had described. But it wasn't functioning. It was staged, manipulated, wrong. And beneath it stood Commander Rukar. Tall, imposing, skin etched with harsh silver lines denoting military rank, he radiated uncompromising authority. His icy eyes locked onto Kale the moment they stepped into view. T'Charyn, Rukar said, voice cold. You rise from obscurity to disgrace your lineage further. Kale stepped forward without flinching. I see you haven't changed. Still devoted to doctrine, still terrified of freedom. A faint ripple of irritation flickered across Rukar's features. Your betrayal weakened the Dominion. But your desire to bond with a human? That is contamination. And contamination must be removed. Elena stepped closer. You tracked him here just to punish him? Rukar studied her as one might examine a dangerous specimen. Humans disrupt stability. Emotional impulses distort reason. You are an anomaly the Dominion cannot permit. Two soldiers seized Elena from behind. She struggled, but their strength exceeded human capability. Kale lunged to intercept, but Rukar raised a hand. A shock wave burst from his palm. Kale flew backward, slamming onto a steel panel with enough force to dent it. Elena! Kale's voice broke with panic as he tried to rise. Rukar approached him. Your union ends tonight, T'Charyn. Dominion law forbids a bond with creatures who endanger neural purity. Elena jerked against the soldiers restraining her. We endanger nothing. You fear losing control. Rukar tilted his head. Control creates order. Order sustains survival. Humans know nothing of restraint. Kale forced himself upright despite trembling limbs. You've spent your life burying anything that resembles compassion. But you can't silence what you refuse to understand. Rukar moved closer, armor clinking softly. Understanding you was never required. Only correcting your errors. He gestured to the containment sphere. This facility broadcasts the signal you felt earlier. It binds Veil minds to my will. It will break you. Kale's luminescence flickered violently, his system fighting the broadcast. Rukar raised his voice. Your bond with this human is weakness. When you fall, she will fall as well. Veil tradition is absolute. Elena's eyes narrowed. Then tradition needs to evolve. Her captors tightened their grip, but her pulse steadied. Her mind raced with calculations. The power frequency, the containment harmonics, the energy recoil from the earlier shockwave. She memorized each detail. Kale stepped toward Rukar again. Release her. This conflict is between you and me. Rukar turned his gaze toward Elena. She is evidence. Proof humanity poisons even the strongest minds. And you're terrified of that, Elena replied. Because once Veil learn what real choice feels like, dictators like you lose everything. A ripple spread through the ranks. Several soldiers exchanged uncertain glances. Rukar stiffened. He sensed their wavering loyalty. His voice sharpened. Enough. Both of you will return with me. T'Charyn faces execution for treason. The human will be studied, then disposed of. He raised his forearm. The containment field expanded, crackling with energy. Kale's glow surged. Elena, brace yourself. Before she could move, the soldiers pinning her activated their armor restraint. A pulse shot from the ground, lifting Elena backward into the enlarged containment sphere. Her body hit the field's inner surface, electricity tingling across her skin. Kale roared, breaking free from Rukar's immediate influence long enough to leap toward her, but Rukar intercepted him mid-air, slamming him to the ground. You chose corruption, Rukar growled. And corruption must be eradicated. Inside the sphere, Elena fought to steady her breathing. The wall hummed with foreign energy. Her scanner remained strapped to her wrist, small enough the soldiers hadn't removed it. She angled it subtly, analyzing the pattern. The frequency was unstable. A weakness existed. Elena's voice cut through the chaos. Kale. The field reacts to harmonic disruption. Kale twisted beneath Rukar's grip. Elena. If I destabilize it, the entire containment grid collapses. Rukar's head snapped toward her. You will do nothing. Elena ignored him and activated a controlled resonance pulse from her scanner, calibrated to a sonic frequency Veil structures often struggled to neutralize. The sphere vibrated. Cracks formed along its glowing surface. Rukar's expression shifted from arrogance to alarm. Elena shouted, "Kale, now!" Kale drew on every ounce of strength left in his battered body and launched himself forward. The moment the sphere shattered in a burst of fractured light, Elena dropped free. Kale caught her, pulling her close. The chamber lights flickered. Rukar snarled, "This is not over. One of you will die." Elena met his glare. "Then choose wisely, because this time, we're not running." The chamber lights flickered as fractured pieces of the containment sphere dissolved into glowing dust. Elena steadied herself against Kale's chest, both breathing hard, the echo of the explosion still vibrating through the industrial complex. Rukar's soldiers wavered in formation, their discipline shaken by the spectacle of two beings, one human, one Veil, shattering technology designed for absolute control. Rukar stood at the center of the room, towering and furious. His silver rank lines burned brighter across his skin, reacting to his rising aggression. "You undermine Dominion order," he hissed. "This bond corrupts two species at once." Kale stepped forward, protective yet deliberate. "You confuse corruption with free will. That is why your empire weakens." Rukar's hand rose, energy rippling up his forearm. Elena recognized the gesture, the precursor to another kinetic blast. She grabbed Kale's wrist. "If he hits you again, your crystalline buildup spikes. You won't withstand another shock." Kale leaned toward her. "Then we combine strength." Rukar fired. Kale and Elena dove aside as the blast tore through a support beam. Metal screeched, crashing onto the floor. Soldiers scattered to avoid the falling debris. Elena spotted the gravity stabilizers lining the ceiling, old industrial machinery still powered by dormant systems. "Kale those stabilizers," she whispered urgently. "If we overload them, they'll destabilize his armor." Kale followed her gaze. Understanding flashed across his features. "I can channel energy through the conduit, but someone must trigger the manual release." Elena stepped toward the nearest access panel. "I'll handle it." Rukar surged forward to block her path, but Kale intercepted him with a force that surprised even the commander. Their bodies collided, energy crackling between them. Rukar drove his fist downward, sending Kale sliding across the floor, but Kale sprang back with a defiant glow. "You fight with desperation," Rukar snarled. Kale wiped blood from his lip, glow intensifying. "I fight with purpose." Elena reached the panel and tore open its rusted casing. The stabilizer's manual interface was ancient and unfamiliar, yet its design shared enough structure with Veil circuitry for her to improvise. She rewired nodes, redirected current, and jerry-rigged a bypass to the main grid. Kale yelled across the room, "Elena, now!" She slammed her palm onto the release. A thunderous hum filled the chamber as the stabilizers activated, emitting volatile gravitational distortions. The air warped. Rukar staggered as invisible pressure crushed inward. His armor buckled, unable to compensate. "What have you done?" he growled, struggling to remain upright. Elena stepped back as Kale leapt into action. He collided with Rukar in a burst of luminous force, the gravity distortions enhancing the impact. The commander's body skidded across the metal floor, slamming into a collapsed scaffold. Rukar attempted to rise, but his armor flickered. Circuits sputtered. The stabilizers disrupted every enhancement the suit provided. Kale approached slowly, chest rising with controlled breath. "This ends because you refused to understand choice." Rukar glared at him. "You're a fool if you believe humanity strengthens you. Their emotions poison rational thought." Kale crouched beside him. "Emotion is not weakness. It is clarity." Rukar lunged in a final attempt to strike, but Kale caught his wrist and twisted, pinning him against the floor. The commander's strength faltered under the gravitational strain. His body slumped, defeated. Elena hurried over. "Kale, stop. It's over." Kale released his hold. His glow softened, no longer fueled by defensive instinct but by relief. Before either could speak, the chamber doors burst open. Earth security forces stormed in. armored officers, tactical drones, and xenotech specialists. Their commander raised a hand. "Stand down. Step away from him." Elena stepped forward. "We're not a threat. He abducted us and attempted lethal force." The officers scanned the room. Evidence of conflict, crushed beams, shattered tech, injured Veil soldiers, corroborated her claim. 2 teams restrained Rukar while medics attended to the remaining troop. A lead officer approached Elena and Kale. "We received anonymous intel about Dominion interference. You 2 were inside before evacuation protocols triggered. Explain." Kale's posture remained calm. "Rukar sought to stop our union by force." Elena added, "He weaponized a beacon, orchestrated human extremist attacks, and intended to take Kale back for execution." The officer absorbed this information with visible unease. "Your testimony confirms multiple intelligence suspicions. Dominion aggression will be addressed." As Rukar was secured, he stared at Kale with cold certainty. "This victory means nothing. You cannot rewrite species' destiny with sentimental choices." Elena met his stare. "Destiny is written by those who refuse to accept fear as law." Rukar was taken away, still glaring, but powerless. Outside the complex, dawn's pale light touched the horizon. Neo-Sol shimmered with emerging calm, the chaos of the night fading into memory. Hours later, the Interstellar Tribunal reconvened in emergency session. Elena and Kale stood before them again. This time backed by security reports, surveillance logs, and rescued data showing Rukar's illegal incursion. The Elder addressed them with a changed tone. "Under extraordinary circumstances, this tribunal has reviewed evidence of coercion, threat, and attempted crimes against 2 citizens seeking lawful union. The Council acknowledges your actions prevented escalation." He paused. "Your marriage is approved." The chamber erupted. Some applause, some shock, some cautious acceptance. Elena reached for Kale's hand. He squeezed gently, warmth traveling through her. The marriage ceremony took place in Neo-Sol's Peace Garden that evening. Bioluminescent trees cast soft, shimmering light across the open space. Representatives from multiple species gathered, witnessing a moment many once considered impossible. Kale traced a luminous sigil across Elena's wrist, a veil symbol binding 2 lives in shared purpose. Elena placed a silver ring upon his finger, a human gesture grounding them in shared commitment. When their hands intertwined, their lights merged, one soft glow, one radiant pulse, melding into a symphony of connection. Later, standing on the skybridge overlooking the city, Kale asked quietly, "Was it worth it? The danger? The cost?" Elena leaned into him, watching the lights ripple below. "If it changes how our worlds see each other, even a little, it was worth everything." Kale's glow brightened, warm and steady. "Then let this be our beginning." Above them, the stars shimmered with possibilities neither species had dared imagine. And the galaxy shifted, quietly, irrevocably, because 2 people chose love over fear.